Okay, we'll start with the last one. There were no expectations different from my brothers and me. In fact, more was expected of me because I was a better student than they were. And it was, first of all, I lived in Michigan, where rules about girls were far advanced over some other states. I know that in some of the southern states, girls were not allowed to go to the the state engineering schools. We had no rules of that kind. I think women had always been admitted to the professional colleges, so very high expectations of my parents for me to get educated. Just totally expected. It was a given. My mother was at home with 5 children and doing things, but she was very active in politics and so forth, and certainly always voted. And also, she was a census taker, and she found people that had never been on the census before because she delved deep into the back streets, roads, and so forth. My father was an Ivy League graduate. He was he was from Canada, but he'd gone to school in Philadelphia at the University of Pennsylvania. And my mother had virtually no education, but she was extremely well-read and very intelligent. And I think maybe she left high school because she was bored. But their formal education was very different, but their intellect was very similar. Oh, absolutely. Well, I expected to go to college and do whatever I was best at. I don't think it was women in my community so much, although my grandmother had a first cousin who was the first woman in the United States to be a school superintendent in a large school. There was kind of a lot of admiration of her name was Elvira Morrison, which is the name of quite a few people, amazingly. But it was the little house on the prairie. I just thought the people in there were so brave and so wonderful. I think I read the books at least once a year, if not more frequently. All of my schooling, including when I taught school, the girls were always much better students. I never understood, and I only came across this when I was quite old, that people expected more of boys because they certainly always were better. They were more mature, girls were more mature, and they were better students, and they paid more attention in school, they behaved better. I just never got it. It never occurred to me that girls would not do more, and then somehow I learned that people, by being around older people, and I learned that, people don't expect girls to do as well, and it's still a mystery because they certainly are the better students in grade school and high school. No, I just did what I wanted to do. No, I went to the University of Michigan. They didn't practice that kind of thing. They had women teachers and women department heads and so forth. The only thing is, when I went to college, it was the very last of people returning from World War II. It would be the people getting, say, their post law school degrees or something like that. So there were a lot of men, but I think we had the first woman who was the sports photographer, and she later worked for the New York Times, I believe. But women were doing things. No, I wasn't torn. It was, and I only stayed at home for a little while. I was back working as soon as Jim went to school. There was just a period of time when it was easier to stay at home than to look for child care. Oh, I don't think I ever wasn't involved in it. But as I said, I grew up where I thought people were equal, and I think that my aunts were from Colorado, where women had the vote, I think, almost earliest, and we know now it's because they wanted to have more people representing them for representation, but more voters, I mean. But I didn't know people who weren't involved and readers and so forth. Oh, well, when I moved to Pittsburgh and I didn't have a job, I decided that I had always said, when I don't have a job, I'm going to work for Planned Parenthood morning, noon, and night. So I went down to their office and I told them that I was here, and they were very happy to hear that, and I immediately asked if I would serve on the board, and I said yes, and I've been there ever since. I'm now an emerita member, but I have served on the board of Planned Parenthood since 1977. And the longer I was there, and I I keep hearing new horrifying stories about people who want to deprive women of rights. Now, for example, our legislature recently advanced a bill that said that a woman pregnant with a Down syndrome child had to carry that child to term. And I think that's a decision that ought to be made only by the parents. And I called my own legislator and I said, do any of these men who are voting for this, have they ever taken a day off from work to go get some paper signed? And you get there and you learn, oh, the person who has to sign that took her mother to the doctor today, and could you come back next week? Well, no, you can't come back next week. And then, oh, well, that had to be notarized before you brought it here. The paperwork alone in dealing with any kind of issue like that is just, it just sucks the soul out of a person. And I think that nobody has the right to just make somebody else have to do a job that will only end when you die. Oh, it was lovely. I mean, I saw lots of people I knew, and as you know, my whole family was there, and friends from Pittsburgh had come to D.C., and it was in every way a lovely experience because to me I was with my family, and you know, while I was doing this for other people, I had always known these rights, and I just wanted them to continue, and I was very concerned that a new administration would want to turn back laws that had protected people, and of course they have, and there's so many, many, many ways of depriving people of reproductive rights, like denying them right to contraception paid for by their insurance, and not letting their doctors learn facts in medical school that women need to know, and you can be attacked in so many different directions, and that was something that I think I maybe didn't learn there, but it was impressed upon me. I think the main goal was to let the new administration know that we're here, that we will be heard from, that we are powerful, that we unite, and that we are numerous. Oh, good heavens, I think we've gone backward. Well, I think the first thing we have to do is get a good education, and I think that it is a huge mistake for young people to spend all their time demonstrating and so forth, as they do at some of the more liberal colleges, I am told, and because as an uneducated person, you have no voice in anything. Nobody really cares what you're saying. You know, if you're a 17-year-old out there, that's nice, but that's not voting, and I think you almost have to be a voter before anyone in politics is going to pay any attention to you. But I think that I always say it's kind of a joke that if you want to be powerful, you either become a lawyer, an environmental lawyer, or whatever field it is you're really interested in, or become Bill Gates, where you can give a lot of money. And while that is a joke, I think that it is very important not to waste your time fooling around, but to get some experience and talk to people about getting jobs, about getting internships and so forth. But you have to be creditable before people are going to listen to you. And it's not enough just to demonstrate. Not really. I mean, I have not been challenged by these. I never heard foolish talk about this until I was quite old. And after I moved to Pittsburgh, I heard a principal in one of the city schools say that it didn't matter about girls going to college because they just got married. And I thought, well, you want the mother of your children to be an idiot?